Hi guys, Korean movie recapped here. Before we start, I have a small news to announce. I would like to introduce myself as the new narrator for our future videos. I hope that you can enjoy my narration as much as the previous video. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Today, I'm going to recap a Korean movie released in 2019, called Innocent Witness. This story is about a girl with autism who is also a key witness to a murder. Because of her condition, she was unable to testify in court properly and was easily denied by the defense attorney. What will the defense attorney do? How do they find the truth? And what is the plot behind all of this? Let's find the truth together. This young man is a lawyer named Mr. Yang. He lives with his father and is still unmarried. He is an outstanding lawyer with great skills who currently works in a law firm. Fascinated by his abilities, his boss then compliments him and later gives him a special pro bono case. A murder case where the maid is the prime suspect because she was at the scene. His boss says that the prosecutor built the case solely on the witness account, where the sole witness is only a 15-year-old girl with autism. On the other hand, at school, this little girl is Ji-woo. She has autism, so her classmate often bullied him. On that night, at his house, this girl looked out the window. She saw an old man whose head was wrapped in plastic, and his maid, in a room across from her house. She then screamed hysterically until her parents came and calmed her down. She later became a key witness in the murder case handled by Mr. Yang. The next day, Mr. Yang meets the maid who is the suspect. Her name is Mi-ran. Before questioning her, he asks Mi-ran to always be honest with him in all conditions, and she agrees. Then she tells the chronology of the incident. That night, she heard a strange noise. When she went to check on his master, she saw her master's head was wrapped in plastic. She tried to help him, but her master kept holding onto the plastic and instead pushed her away. She couldn't restrain him. She then tried to take something to tear the plastic. But when she returned to the room, her master had already died. After telling the chronology, Mi-ran cries and blames herself for being slow to help her master. She then asks Mr. Yang to help her. After that, he works on the case carefully. He watches the interrogation tape from the key witness. Not satisfied, he then goes to meet the witness, Ji-woon. But at her home, her mother forbids Mr. Yang to see her daughter. Not giving up, he then meets a child psychologist to ask what she thinks about the interrogation video. The psychologist said that she has high intelligence, and the interrogation went very well because the prosecutor seemed to understand how to deal with autistic people, but was not leading him either. During the pre-trial, Mr. Yang as a defense attorney asks the judge to bring the witness to court. But the prosecutor refuses and says that the witness has special conditions, and it would be dangerous for the witness' health to put her on the stand. But after deliberation, the judge decided to allow the witness to appear in court. According to the psychologist's advice, Mr. Yang tries to enter the world of the little girl. He starts by meeting her at school. There, Ji-woo is with her best friend, Shin. After giving them business cards, he tries to ask Ji-woo some questions regarding what she saw that night. But she refuses to answer and ignores him. In the end, Shin says that in order to talk to Ji-woo, he has to use something she likes, which is puzzles and quizzes. In court, Mr. Yang presents a witness who is a forensic expert. There he presents evidence of his theory that the victim actually committed suicide. This is also reinforced by evidence a few days earlier the victim bought butane gas at the supermarket. The evidence is then received by the court and the court is adjourned to examine the sole witness, Ji-woo. This time, he tries again to get close to Ji-woo. He bought some puzzles, but apparently she isn't interested. Not giving up, this time he invites them to eat ramen. After that he takes her home. In front of her house, there was already the prosecutor who looked close to Ji-woo. He again asks the mother to allow him to interrogate Ji-woo, but she refuses. And it turned out that from the window Ji-woo noticed him. At night, she sends a puzzle to Mr. Yang. He then answers it. And from this, they grow closer, day by day. One day, he tries to find Ji-woo. He sees her being forced to drink something by her best friend, Shin. Because she refused, Shin then hit her. Seeing that, he stops Shin, and then says such a person is not a good friend. They become closer and finally the mother allows Mr. Yang enters the house and interrogates her daughter. After asking some questions, Ji-woo said Shin, who's always smiling at her, was taking advantage of her. Was he also just taking advantage of her? The scene continues to court. As Ji-woo sits on the witness stand, she keeps her ears covered. It turns out she is disturbed by the sound of the clock ticking. They then turn off the wall clock. The trial continues. The prosecutor asks her to tell what she saw. Ji-woo explains what she saw and believes his maid attacked the victim because the maid smiled while holding the victim. Surprisingly, Mr. Yang as a defense attorney says that Ji-woo has an autism disorder that caused her to be unable to distinguish expressions, which he later proves in the court. After humiliating Ji-woo, finally Mr. Yang wins the trial and Mi-ran is acquitted of not being proven guilty. After the trial, he meets Mi-ran and says that the prosecutor is appealing. She says she is not afraid as long as Mr. Yang defends her. She then says goodbye to meet her son. Here, Mr. Yang feels something is odd because she previously said that she didn't have any family. He then begins to doubt himself. He tries to recall his memories of everything about the case. His conscience told him that what he was doing was not the right thing. On the other hand, at school, Ji-woo can't go home because of heavy rain. Shin then comes and apologizes for what she has done to Ji-woo. She then gives her umbrella and runs into the rain. Moments later, Mi-ran appears and taunts Ji-woo. She said that she shouldn't be involved in adult business, and then pushed her away. Mr. Yang deeply regrets himself. On the other hand, the prosecutor is trying to prepare his appeal. He meets Ji-woo's mother to ask her daughter to stand in court once again, but the mother refuses. Then Ji-woo tells his mother that she wants to be a witness again. Her mother forbids her, but then she says that she cannot become a lawyer because she is autistic, but at least she can be a witness to let people know the truth. To do what is right. At home, Mr. Yang gets a letter from his father. He remembered his motivation to become a lawyer. I want to do good things. That's what he said to his father a long time ago. The next morning, the day of appeal, he greets his father and smiles. He understands what he has to do. In the court, the first day of appeal begins. This time, Ji-woo stepped confidently towards the court stand. First of all, Mr. Yang proves that Ji-woo has high intelligence and she can remember very well in a short time. She also has acute hearing, which makes her able to hear very well even from a distance. His boss tells him to stop, but he ignores him. He then asked if she could hear or read Mi-ran's mouth movement the night the victim was killed. She said she can. That night, the maid said, "Yikes. That's just pathetic. If only you die, both my child and your child can live. Just go quietly, will you? If you had the money to give away, you should have given it to me." Suddenly, the child of the victim who came to court tries to leave, but is stopped. Judge then asked for Mr. Yang role and reminded him of the code of ethics he would face. He said a lawyer is a human too, who has a desire to do what is right. His boss then gets angry and goes mad at the trial. He blasphemes Mr. Yang and is later removed from the trial by the judge. In the end, the trial is won by the prosecutor, but Mr. Yang gets what he wants, the truth, and to do what is right. At the end of the movie, Mr. Yang is getting closer and good friends with Ji-woo. He also dares to express his feelings to the woman he likes. What is around us is not always good. But what makes us good is whether we dare to do the right things. Do you dare to do something right in your life too? Leave your comments below. And also make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.